Summer rock climbing mrnightchriss, Wyoming, USA. And probably last summer with no responsibilities, no work, no college, just freedom. Everyone knows that the start of summer is the best time of the year, and I was living my best life. In Wyoming, my friends and I had this unofficial tradition: new graduates would drive out into the plateaus to go rock climbing. It was a rite of passage, a way to celebrate freedom with a little skill and a lot of nerve. My friends Alexandra, Nick, Jack, and I had been planning this for weeks, and finally, the day arrived. Alexandra, or Alex as we called her, had a Jeep reliable enough for off-road adventures. She was the designated driver since she didn't drink, which worked perfectly since the rest of us planned to bring a few beers for when we reached the top. We decided to check out the Flaming Gorge lookout first. The view was breathtaking, stretching endlessly across Wyoming's wilderness. After an hour of photos and soaking it all in, we drove along Highway 141, searching for a good climbing spot. Soon, we spotted massive rock formations off the side of the road and pulled into a small gravel lot. The climb was about 15 minutes to the top, a steady scramble with enough handholds to make it challenging but doable. Alex led the way, followed by me, Nick, and Jack. Once at the top, the view was stunning. We cracked open our beers, chatting and relaxing, enjoying the moment. Then I noticed a red pickup truck speeding down the highway. To my surprise, it screeched to a halt and began reversing toward our lot. A man got out, pacing around Alex's Jeep, peering into windows and trying door handles. At first, we thought maybe he was lost or another climber. But then, he started acting aggressive. From the top of the plateau, announcing our presence. The man paused, waved at us, but continued fiddling with the Jeep. Jack yelled that we were armed, trying to bluff, but the man responded by yelling something that froze me in place: "Me, too, kiddo." He raised what looked like a gun and started ramming the Jeep's windows. We scrambled down the plateau as fast as we could. By the time we reached the lot, he had a gun pointed at us, forcing us to drop our phones and wallets. After taking our belongings, he punctured one of Alex's tires and drove off in a license plate-less truck. We were terrified, shaken, and furious. Without phones and with the Jeep damaged, there was nothing we could do but drive back carefully and call the police from Alex's mom's house. The man was never caught, and the experience left a permanent scar on our perception of freedom. What was supposed to be one of the best days of our summer turned into one of the most terrifying. Lost in the desert, New Mexico, USA. This happened 3 years ago when I was 19. My older brother Luke and I were driving cross-country from California back to New Jersey after his college graduation. He had a U-Haul packed with all his belongings, and we had decided to take the scenic southern route through Zion and the Grand Canyon. The trip started beautifully, Zion was incredible, and the Grand Canyon even more breathtaking. But somewhere in New Mexico, our plan hit a snag. The U-Haul was running low on gas much faster than expected, and the next station was 40 miles away. We had no choice but to stop at a tiny town 10 miles ahead. The town was eerily quiet, with a few rundown buildings and almost no people on the streets. As Luke filled up the tank, I noticed a man watching us closely, lingering near the convenience store. After fueling, we tried to navigate back to the highway but ended up going in circles. Roads that should have led to the highway didn't exist or were inaccessible. Our GPS barely worked. Luke decided to ask the clerk for directions. He got an unnecessarily complicated route, claiming we needed to drive 17 miles in the opposite direction to reach the highway. While we were debating what to do, a dusty pickup truck pulled up beside us. The driver warned us against following the clerk's directions, explaining that the route would lead us into a desolate area notorious for criminal activity. We followed the new directions and eventually found the highway. The relief was immense, but the sense of danger lingered. The feeling of being trapped in a small, unfamiliar town with no way out was terrifying, and it reminded me how quickly a normal journey can turn into a life-threatening situation. Dangerous encounter in Rijeka, Croatia. 5 summers ago, my girlfriend at the time, let's call her PS, and I planned a European trip. She was half Croatian, and we wanted to visit her grandparents' hometown of Rijeka. We were broke, so we booked the cheapest accommodations we could find. Zagreb and Dravnik were lively and crowded with tourists, but Rijeka was different, quiet, with almost no foreigners. The first day was pleasant, exploring the city, but on the second day, we decided to try a small, local seafood restaurant PS had heard about. The food was amazing, but we noticed 5 rough-looking men sitting nearby. At first, I didn't think much of it. Then PS went suddenly quiet, staring at them. She whispered that we needed to leave immediately. According to her, the men were discussing what they planned to do to us, specifically targeting her. We paid quickly and ran through the empty residential streets toward the city center, sprinting for our lives. The men followed at a distance, not hiding their pursuit. Eventually, we reached a busy street with other people, and they stopped, realizing they couldn't act openly with witnesses around. An older local man at a nearby cafe explained that the restaurant was a hangout for organized criminals and praised our luck at escaping unharmed. The experience left us shaken for the rest of the trip, and even years later, I still remember the terror of being hunted in a foreign town.